welcome back to Color Theory, Understanding Color. This is lesson number 6, and today we're going to look at something that's similar to value. So we've already done the values, so you can understand, from light to dark, you get that concept. Today we're going to be looking at something that's similar but different, and it is key. So if you look there, I have a little graph, and I got that graph from a company called sensationalcolor.com. That was set up for interior designers, but they use color too. Now, high key and low key describe the set of colors and the values of those colors that range from very light to mid-value, which is high key, or mid-value to very dark, which is low key. To remember the terms, I think somebody just turned on the lights high, and so everything's quite bright and airy, and there's no real darks in there, and it's an upbeat and fresh style of painting, and it's just beautiful. So the two on the left are by Fairfield Porter, who's an amazing artist from the 60s. And then on the right is a painting by an Australian artist called Zoe Young. And they're both really fresh and bright. So these paintings are what are called high key paintings. Now I'm turning the lights down low. So you can see that these two paintings are both quite dark and dramatic. So the one on the left is by Saint Sebastian Archers, circa 1653, and the one on the right is done by yours truly, Laurie McKern. So you can see that they do have a darker mood to them, and there's not a lot of contrast and not a lot of light. These are known as low-key paintings. While I was doing research for this lesson, I looked over my own body of work and found that most of my work is middle key to low key, or just low key, or very high contrast. I don't have a lot of high key. In fact, I could say that I probably don't have any high key. I would like for you today to look at your own work. It doesn't matter how many paintings you've done. If you've only done 3 paintings so far in your artist practice, then look at the work that you are attracted to and ask yourself, is it high key? Is it middle key? Is it low key? So whatever you normally create, if you are normally creating everything that is high key, today your challenge is going to create a painting in low key. And for me, because I'm always doing everything in low key, it's my challenge to do something in high key. And I'm going to show you how you can go about trying to work that out today. Okay, let's get started. Here is a photo shoot that I did with my daughter and my daughter's friend. I told them just come however you want to be represented, wear whatever you want, and we're just going to take a bunch of pictures in the studio. So I've always wanted to paint that because I thought it was a pretty cute composition there. So this one at the moment is just a normal key painting. There's not too many lights and there's not too many darks. In fact, it's very high contrast. It's like there's not like all darks and all lights, it's dark and light. So how am I going to deal with that if I want to do a high key painting or if I want to do a low key painting? And the color key, so if we talk about color key would be if this was predominantly a yellow image I was looking at, or a predominantly blue image. You could say that is the key color is yellow or blue. In this case, we have some neutral colors. So I am going to first make that a low-key painting. So I just played with the settings on my photos until I had a lot of things on the dark side. So mid-key to dark. And I've also changed that to a very, the key color now would be pink and orange. So it's very interesting. Yeah, I kind of like that. And normally I would be painting that one, but my challenge is to do a high key today. So I'm not doing this one. But that's one way that you can play and manipulate with your photos. And here I've made it very light. So now my values are very light to a mid value. There are not too many colors in this image, but I can play with the colors. The brightest thing there, I guess, is the orange. So, you know, the flesh tone. So I could say my key color is this flesh tone here, or Caucasian flesh tone anyways. So I am going to paint this, and I may change some of these things. I might change and make things pinker, or I might make this green or purple or something else. I can play with them. They don't have to be exactly like that. I just want to make sure they're all high key, mid-tone to light. So you can see that I've prepared my canvas, and my canvas is blue. I put some gesso down, so it's really a great ground if you're always putting gesso down on your canvases before you begin. It's just going to be so much easier. Sometimes the canvas really fights you because even though it says that it's gessoed, sometimes they aren't really gessoed enough to have a nice smooth surface. So I gessoed this, and then I put some more gesso in it, and I put a little bit of blue in there. And the reason I'm starting with this blue is because my key color is that kind of orangey color that I was telling you about, which means if everything that I paint is going to be in orange tones, then it's going to be too much warmth for people to look at. So I would like to have just a little bit of blue peeking through to cool all the warm colors that I'm going to put down. So people are always wondering what color ground to put down. Think about if you're going to paint a warm painting or if you're going to paint a cool painting. If you're going to paint a cool painting, lots of cool greens, put down a pink or put down an orange, put down a yellow, put down a red. I think you got that, right? I'm going to talk you through my process. So I am drawing with some willow charcoal, and that is just easy to wipe off. I'm not doing what I normally do. I'm not doing it upside down. I'm not looking at my negative and my positive. I'm just working with line and contour. I was going to do a bit of a blind contour drawing, but I decided I need to look every once in a while. So it's a very slow process, and because of that, I am going to fast forward. After I finish my drawing, I need to start with my darks. Now remember, my dark can't be black because I'm doing high key. So here I'm trying to work out what my dark is going to be, and I put a blob of black up there so I know what not to do. So the black is to remind me not to get that dark. So I've put in a mid-tone, and I've put the dark down, and then I've gone mid-tone and then middle tone and then light tone. Now what I've done a lot here is putting stuff on, wiping it off, putting it on, wiping it off. Mostly because the color choices I put down I wasn't happy with, and acrylic would have been easier in this process because I could have just painted on top of things instead of having to wipe them all off. Or I could have done a little color swatch first, working out what colors I want to do. And if I was to do that, I'd have you know, a large color for the background, and then smaller colors for the figures and the dresses, and it worked it out like that. And I used to work like that, but now I just kind of wing it. But then sometimes when you wing it, you do have to be wiping a lot of stuff off, as I've done here. Because I put that pink background in and I wasn't thrilled with it. So now I've changed my darkest dark with those dresses and the hair to more like a muddy green. And I'm really happy with that. And so there's my color so far. And my darkest dark is that green. And now I'm changing my shadows to the under color of that blue that I'd wiped away to a gray. It's just black and white that I've mixed with the ultramarine blue and a burnt umber. And just putting in some shadows. And then after my shadows, I am going to put in some lines. So it's like some white panel wall.
is that what we would call it? White paneling. And really, I am inspired by the work by Zoe Young, and her studio is all white paneling. So I'm, you know, taking my inspiration from one of her paintings, and I'm putting all my white paneling in now, and it makes my shadow stand out more, and it's making my painting even a lighter key. And I'm adding some pink in there. So my overall key color was not all of the warms that I thought it was going to be. So you would say the key color really is the green and the pink, which are also complementaries, interestingly enough. And I'm adding thicker and thicker white. With oil paint, your whites aren't always super, super, super white. And in this case, they are blending in with the pink that even though I wiped it away, it's still kind of getting in there. But I don't mind that. It just gives the white a little bit more warmth. And the last thing I do when I'm painting is put the details in. So you can see now that I'm putting in some details on the face and the shoes and the dress and pretty much everything, and changing those angles a little bit. And my light details go on last. And there's my work so far. I think it looks pretty good. I think it just needs a little bit of last minute finessing, and I'm putting in some polka dots just to make it a lively, fun painting. I could have just left it the way it was. I think it was quite graphic and striking the way it was before, if I don't say so myself. I liked it before, but I'm putting in some dots, and if I don't like it, I can always go back in after it's dry and put another layer of gray and white in that background. And after a couple of days of painting, I'm finally finished with my high key painting. I did enjoy the process after struggling a little bit at the beginning. Last minute, I decided to get rid of the polka dots in the white area, and I like it so much better now. There's more breathing room. If you have a look, you can see little bits of the blue that are peeking through that are part of the underpainting. I hope everyone enjoyed working on the high or low key process. I'd love to see your work. If you enjoyed this lesson and you've enjoyed all my other lessons, please remember to like and subscribe to my channel. Thanks. See you next time.